Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple Jump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
And my name is Peter.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Peter, and that's Ashton
Yes.
right there.
Ben's got the big plops today,
Ben's
so he's
got-
not in.
It's plopping all over the floor,
Yeah.
all over the ceiling. It's really bad.
I'm the only consistency this month.
I know. Thank God for Ashton. Am I right? What would we
What'd you
do
do
without
without
her?
me?
I mean, genuinely, if we didn't have you as a second host, this would have been the third podcast in the space of a month where we would either have to drag Sam Driver in or James Jenkins,
Or James
perhaps.
Jenkins.
I don't know if he's ever done one before, but I think we've had Sam once or twice in the past. Or there would just maybe not been a podcast.
Yeah. So basically, you're all welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Ashton. Everyone put
No
thanks,
probs.
Ashton, in the comments,
Yeah.
please.
If you wouldn't mind. Good.
This is our video game podcast. We do it each and every week. There are various ways that it is supported. I don't know which one we do first because Ben
I think
normally
it's
does
normally
this.
the sponsor.
But I think it's the I was leaning towards sponsor. It is helped by you guys, but first and I think more importantly,
Yeah.
we're sponsored each and every week. Ashton, you've got the ad read for us this week.
I do. So they found out this morning that Ben was doing big plops. So they quickly sent me the sponsor.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Word of our anti-breakfast kind of club that we've got going on has gone global. And so a developer has decided to put together a game to help us get back into breakfast.
Just for us.
Yeah. Help us get back into breakfast. Coming March 25th, a breakfast food extravaganza. It's Toastwire Tokyo.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So you can travel around Tokyo trying different breakfast foods. And
Is there any supernatural element whatsoever?
no,
or, no.
it's just a food tour of Tokyo.
It's just
a breakfast
toast.
food tour of Tokyo. Just toast.
I mean, breakfast in Tokyo sounds great.
It does sound pretty good.
Sounds pretty good.
So yeah, Tango. Was it Tango something? What's the name of the dev? Tango something. Tango.
That's me. All I know is it's spooky.
It's spooky.
That's all I know.
They've made a game for us, so that's nice.
That's good of them. I'm
Toastwire
really glad that
Tokyo.
they've done that,
Yeah.
and it will be helping Ben on his way to recovery.
Yeah. Because the reason he's got big plops is because he never has breakfast.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have big plops, because I never have breakfast. So yeah, that's real. It's not real. I'm
Oh,
afraid.
it's not
They
real.
didn't make a game just for us.
But Ben's he's so dehydrated now.
He's going to need so much orange juice
He is.
to get back to his normal, regular programming.
Cycle programming.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not real. Sorry, everyone.
That's a real disappointment.
But what is real and
Yeah.
how you can support us is by going to TripleJump Facebook page, which is facebook.com/team TripleJump, and liking the page, giving it a follow, and joining the Warriors Clan group, and just hanging out with everyone on Facebook. That'd be really nice.
When we get to 10,000 followers, we'll have to start paying some of our staff. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Wouldn't it?
It is. And there is another way to support us, Peter.
Yes.
Isn't there?
There is.
Yes.
You can go to patreon.com/team TripleJump. I don't know why I had to look at my phone there. I know what it is.
You're normally the one that says it every. Well,
not-
actually, no. Normally it is Ben, isn't
I
it?
normally do Facebook, which is
Yeah.
what threw me off because I was like, are you asking me about... We just done Facebook, actually. I've just done that one. But yes, no, you can also go to patreon.com/team TripleJump, where for as little as $1 per month, you can ask questions on this podcast. We've got several today, as we do every single week. So why not consider doing that? It breaks down, considering that it's a weekly podcast, it's like sort of 25 cents a podcast.
Yeah, and if you ask one question every week, that's worth you
It's a
25p.
bargain. Yeah, do it.
There is also other tiers. You can get different rewards, but we'll talk about that later.
Later on.
You have the first question.
I've got a
Peter.
question here. This is from Fergus Jeffs, who says, "Hello, Bap." It's actually just app today, I'm afraid. Although they say hello, Bap and Billy. So if we replace Ben with Billy, then it's still Bap. Hello, Bap.
Yes.
Have you ever played something that has completely changed your opinion about an entire video game genre, either positively or negatively? Is there a game that's completely turned you on to a particular genre, or instead turned you off? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you, Fergus.
Thank you, Fergus Jeffs.
Thank you, Fergus Jeffs. I have a few games that have both turned me on and off things in the past. You ever played League of Legends?
No.
No. I played it, I think, once, maybe twice with friends who were quite into their MOBAs.
Mm-hmm.
That's Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, I believe. I think that's what the M stands for.
So.
Yeah. And that was my first experience with the genre. I'd seen games like that played online. Like I think is Heroes of New Earth one, or is that a card game? I don't know. No, Hearthstone's a card game. But there's a few of those. And I had always kind of quite liked the idea of it because I think it was, again, you're really testing my knowledge here on, or I'm testing my own knowledge here on MOBA games. But one of them started out as a Warcraft 3 mod. It might have been League of Legends, or it might have been something else. But I really liked Warcraft 3 when I was a bit younger because that's just a single player or multiplayer competitive strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
So you build your base, you make an army, and you fight each other in a very typical strategy kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas MOBA games have like lanes with mobs, and you have like a hero who has like an entire row of abilities on the bottom of your screen, and there's loads of like really precise micromanagement as like bringing like this item but not that, and that works well if you combine with this person. There's a whole language to it. Get ganked, for example, is a word that I heard being thrown around at times. And so all of that is very off-putting and confusing and scary. Mm-hmm. But worst of all is that, as a general rule, MOBA communities are the pits. They're so bad.
Yeah.
If you are, I mean, even if you're not new, but especially if you're new, everyone hates you.
Mm-hmm.
They think you're the worst. You're letting the team down. Who the hell do you think you are? Get off this game, you noob.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have a lot of that because I was playing with my friends, but I quickly became aware of it. I think I could see it in the chat, like from the opposing team,
right,
like maybe even saying it to their own teammates. And it's just not for me at all. So I played like one round of League of Legends, and I thought, this isn't great. Which was also a shame because not only was I intrigued because it was whichever one was a Warcraft 3 mod, but also they have all these different heroes with like completely different designs and stuff. It's like a hero shooter game or something. Mm-hmm. You know, you have like there's like a little goblin, there's like a giant man, there's a tree person. I really liked all the idea of that and having this like huge range of characters. And then when it came to actually playing as them, I was like, oh, never mind. But I do have one that was kind of the other way around. I probably never would have been especially interested in an atmospheric side-scrolling game until I played Limbo. And then, man, I fell in love with that game so much. I think it's great. I've actually been playing it this week for other reasons, but coincidentally, it answers this question pretty well.
Yeah.
And that was... when I played it, it was bundled, I think, with another game, with Splosion Man on Xbox 360. And I think I just borrowed it from a friend or something, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And since then, you know, the one game I've not played is Inside, and I'll talk about that a bit later on. But you know, Little Nightmares sort of qualifies. That has a bit of depth to it. It's not quite 2D, but it's that sort of thing. And then I've also been quite intrigued by what's it called? Far. Changing Tides, which came out like last week, which is why, I mean, again, I'll get to it later, but that's why I've been on that genre this week, because I've been kind of like brought back to that, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, those games are always really interesting. So if not for Limbo, I don't think I'd have played Little Nightmares, which is a series I love. So Ashton, have you been turned on or off?
I have one example, and then I thought of another example while you were talking.
Okay.
Again, it's turned me on to a genre. I really didn't like the idea of like a roguelite or a roguelike, because I was like, I don't want to lose all my stuff that I've just spent time getting. I don't understand. Like, what's the point? But I played Hades over lockdown, and I really enjoyed it, and I got really into it. So I haven't finished it.
I think a lot of people are in that boat.
Yeah.
Like, never tried a roguelike or a roguelite and then played that.
Yeah. It kind of made me think that like, oh, maybe it isn't actually as bad as it sounds. I think maybe I just kind of had decided it was going to be a nightmare, but it wasn't. And I, since like having played that, I kind of am more I haven't played any like rogue likes since then, but not because of it, just because I think I haven't got around to it / haven't found one that's intrigued me like story wise yet.
You tempted by Returnal?
I am. Returnal? Well, since State of Play last night when they announced the co-op,
the co-op,
I was a bit like, now I'm very interested.
I can play with my friends.
Because we were talking about Returnal when we saw it last night, me and MB, and we were just kind of like talking about it and being like, I probably would like want to play it, but like I don't know if I can like be bothered to pick up. I've got so much on my plate right now. And then it came up as a co-op and we both went, oh, we should play that game together.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, I am. But then a game that turned me off a genre, I played 1 or 2 rounds of CSGO when I was helping set up a tech thing for one of the esports shows I was working on. All I had to do was just like play around with someone while like they were testing to make sure everything was working. And I did not know what was going on the whole time. I just kept getting killed and I was like, what is happening? I can't figure it out. And the game's not telling me how to play. I got to the menu and I was confused. Like I was like, I don't understand, and I just decided there and then that like I was no longer interested in an online multiplayer like first person shooter. I just can't do it. I'm not got quick enough reaction times. I'm busy like looking over here and I get shot in the side of the head and I'm like, what? Playing
first person shooters online is not for me. I mean, I don't even play offline first person shooters these days, but not for any particular reason. I've not been like turned off by a specific game, but certainly like if I was to ever pick up a Call of Duty game, for example, it would probably be for the campaign, which is, they normally do pretty good story modes. But the idea of playing COD online, for example, or CSGO or something. But the only game I could probably play relatively well online is, well, not a recent Halo game, but the older ones I was good at once upon a time. I think if I picked it up now, I would probably be rubbish because I wouldn't understand all the new stuff. But yeah.
It's one of those things, so I feel like if you don't pick up a FPS, like an online FPS straight away, you're by 3 weeks in, you're the worst player and it's impossible to like get better because you're being matched against people who are like level 50 and you're like level 4. But I remember when I was younger, I used to be quite into them. But it's mainly because I was just playing in a team that was just carrying me through and I would just like bumble around, potentially shooting like 3 people and I'm like, I got 3 kills. And everyone else would be like, I got 25. And I'm like, but I got 3. So good for me. So yeah, there's like, I really like Hades, but I haven't got around to another one yet. But I don't like CSGO.
Oh, that's a shame. I nearly threw in, and maybe this is just because Ben's not here to defend it, but I nearly said Dark Souls / Bloodborne as well. I remember playing Dark Souls when it was still quite a new game. I was at a friend's house and I thought, oh, this looks good, like visually, and the opening cutscene is great. And I was like, oh man, this is really hard. And then years later, I think only maybe 4 or 5 years ago from now, I was like, I should really try Bloodborne because it looks interesting, like aesthetically. I really like the idea of that world. And then again, I just can't. I can't do Souls likes or Soulsborne games. Yeah. But then I guess really I was never turned on to them in the first place. Yeah. So like it doesn't quite answer the question. I was intrigued by them, but purely by kind of the world building and stuff. And then, but gameplay wise, I simply cannot. Yeah, I'm very much the same when it comes to Soulsborne. Yeah. Well, now onto a segment that I'm really sad Ben's not here because he's missing out on it because it's the first time we've ever done it. Yeah, it's a shame actually. Yeah. It's time to talk about what we're playing. Oh. It's what we're playing time. Time to talk about what we're playing. Don't know if you've noticed, by the way, we don't have paper in front of us today. There's no paper in both offices, I believe. The printer's got no paper. And then when we asked, they said there's no paper in the entire building. No, well, 2 buildings, really. You know, we have 2 offices next door to each other, and Cultaholic don't have any paper either. No. So I feel like for the rustling... I know, well, what we're going to do, that's why I said it then, because I was like, oh, what about when we get to the next sections? Yeah. We're going to have to... There'll be no rustle. There's a little scrap of. Is this a receipt? I think it's blue tack. Oh, it is. No, that's too crispy. No, it's too crispy. It's not gonna work. There's a comic over there. Don't know what that is. Should we talk about what we're playing? Yeah, shall we? Beasley, what have you been playing this week? So I saw a little bit of Far Changing Tides on Twitch this week or last week. Can't remember when it was. It was actually Ozzy was playing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this. This is new to me. And again, it's one of those games, I was talking about Limbo earlier and Little Nightmares. It's kind of carried by its aesthetic, and it's just the way it looks. There's very little HUD. You're kind of problem solving, exploring, and that is I believe it's strictly left to right. It's like 2D. It's not 2.5D or that's not what I've been playing this week, but I was intrigued by it, and I ended up looking at some footage of the game that came before it. So the one that's just come out is Far Changing Tides, and the other one was Far something else.
Yeah, I think I thought it was a sequel, but I couldn't remember the name of the first one, so I didn't know if I just thought that it was the same game.
Mm-hmm. And the first one, you had a kind of a land ship, like it was on wheels, and you would kind of blow through the desert and stuff. And in this one, you are actually on a water ship, like a regular one. And you have to kind of look after it and stuff. Looks really intriguing, and I will be giving it a go. But I thought at the moment, I'm playing games really sporadically because me and my partner are like looking to buy a house in Newcastle if we can, and we've got a lot of wedding stuff on and off. My weekends are really busy, so I was like, I don't want to start a new game that I can't focus on. Yeah. So instead, I played all the way through Limbo in a single night the other day, which, it didn't take that long because I think it's like the third time I've played it.
Right, yeah.
So I was able to do it relatively quickly, but I just wanted to soak up that genre and that atmosphere. And then yesterday, I was playing a little bit Little Nightmares 1 as well, which, for the same reasons. I just love the way all of those games are they're all made by different people. Limbo, Little Nightmares, and this Far, what was it? Changing Tides. I keep forgetting. All different people, but all kind of cut from the same cloth. It hangs on its visual aesthetics, from its sound design, and just the kind of really simple controls. Normally, there's generally these games, you might be able to run, jump, and perhaps grab, or maybe do a punch or something like that, and that's about it. But you solve generally physics-based puzzles, and it's just it can be nice to not have to worry about a complex narrative or anything like that. In fact, as a general rule, these games, they don't just have a simple narrative; they have an ambiguous one, where you sort of don't really know what's going on. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that this week, and really, though I'm intrigued by Far, what I'm actually more keen to play before that, given that I've dipped my toe back into this genre, is Inside, which I mentioned in the previous question. I never got around to playing, and people rave about Inside. That is made by the same people who did Limbo, and it's just one of those games that it passed me by at the time. And then it's just been it's never been a priority to go back and play it. But I need to do that because, I love all of these games, and that by some people's, account is the best one. Sort of thing. So I have to give that a try in the coming weeks if I just have a few evenings to actually play games consecutively.
To stop having to be an adult.
I know. I've been doing agreement in principle for mortgage and stuff. Jesus Christ, how old am I now?
So fun.
I'm nearly 30 and I don't like it. But that's why I play video games, to maybe pretend that I'm not.
I still haven't finished Little Nightmares 2.
I
was playing it between games, and I got to the mannequin bit. And it was too spooky.
It is pretty spooky.
And I kept stopping, and then when I'd go back to it, I was like, oh God, I'm still in this area. And it was just it was quite spooky, that bit. So I struggled to get past it, and then Horizon came out. And I haven't.
It's quite hard as well when you get to that bit.
It is quite hard.
It gets quite difficult.
I kept getting my ass beat. I realised, I was saying this to Ben a couple of weeks ago, I've got horrible depth perception. Horrible.
Yeah,
I keep thinking I'm out of the way, and then I get grabbed or I get taken, and I'm like, what?
I think that's partly the game. We played it all the way through. I mean, I played it all the way through on stream, and Ben sat and watched me play it. And I was definitely getting grabbed and stuff, and that was having already completed it once at home. And I think both Little Nightmares 1 and 2, they do have a slightly funny depth perception to them. So I don't think that's your fault necessarily.
Okay, that's cool. But this
What have you been
week,
playing?
I have been playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Excellent.
I have almost finished it.
Right.
I've just completed the penultimate mission before like the final mission. I'm just like sweeping up all the side quests and stuff. Managed to fully break a quest. I can't finish it now.
Oh no, it's like a glitch.
Yeah, well basically you have to kill a robot, and when I killed it, you meant to like go and get the salvage off it, but it went under the ground and I can't get to it anymore, and the game's like not popped it back up through the ground.
Oh no.
So I tried like restarting the game, restarting the PS5, tried like going to a completely different area, doing a mission, everything, and nothing's worked. I had to file a bug report because I was like, I can't finish the quest, and it's the only quest I have left in this whole thing, please. But they haven't fixed it yet. So,
No.
and then yeah, so I've been just going around doing all the side quests. I really have enjoyed this game, and I'm really excited to like finish the story and see what happens. But I feel like some bits of it kind of are harder than they need to be.
Right.
So these things are called melee pits that are like. So in the first game, you had like hunting grounds, which were like you versus a machine and like challenges and stuff, which are still in this game. There's not as many of them. They've kind of added in an arena mode, which is kind of like you go in and there's various challenges getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
And then there's these melee pits, and these melee pits are part of a mission where you have to do 3 of them, and then you get to fight someone called the Enduring, and they just keep referring to this person as the Enduring. That's like their name. And the melee pits, 2 of them are fine, but the third one is really hard because you have to like, it's rather than just being like, just beat this guy who will do certain attacks on you. It's like, do this attack on him, like this combo of attacks.
Right.
So it'd be like press R1, pause, R1, hold R1, hold R2.
While you're in the middle
and
of
you're
combat.
like, and it's all on the side. But the issue is, if you mess it up, it goes black screen and do it again.
Right.
Like, so you get halfway through, you don't get like a couple of goes at it. You have to like hit them, and if you mess it up, fades to black, brings you up and you start again.
That's a bit harsh.
And it doesn't always tell you what you did wrong, so it's really hard to like figure out what is like wrong that I've just done. And there's one that I like got so angry at, I like threw the controller onto the beanbag and like punched the sofa because I was like, I can't do this. And I was getting so angry, and then I left it, and I've got to finish it to do the rest of this quest, and I'm really annoyed about it. But other than that, like most of the game's really good. It made me cry on Sunday. It was a really sad moment, and if you've played the first game and you play this game, you'll be really sad.
You will cry too.
You will cry too. So yeah, it's really good, and I've enjoyed it. I just want that one goddamn melee pit to like leave me alone. I also played some Borderlands 2 at the weekend. We're finishing off like the last two DLCs before Tiny Tina's comes out, so we've got something to play. And then me and MB tried Ark Survival Evolved.
Right.
And have you played Ark Survival Evolved?
I've played it very briefly, but I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, we played like maybe an hour and a half, and because it's PS Plus this month, so we were like, well, let's just try it. We went into it. This game should not be on PlayStation. This game, the UI is not a game for PlayStation.
Right.
Like, it's so difficult to like just get around the menu. You press the options button to like go into the settings or something. There's just stuff all over the screen.
It's just been directly ported from the PC,
yeah, and
I
I'm
guess.
like, I have no idea what I'm meant to be clicking on. Like, what is going on? And then, I mean, I had a lot of fun with the character creation. I had like this really short little human being with like massive boobs.
Yeah.
No like head to neck difference, like all just one. And I was like, look at me. And Ben was like, your person should be like unable to walk. Like, what is this? But yeah, we played that for about an hour and a half. We were gradually figuring out like how to play the game and what you had to do. And it's just not, they should, if they're going to port it to PlayStation, they should just like made the UI a bit more friendly. Like even getting into a game, I was like, how do I join a game? Because we were just trying to play just the 2 of us. We didn't want to join like a public server.
Right.
And I was like, I don't even understand this. How do I do this? And then it kept kicking me out for some reason. And I was just like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I kind of want to play it again, though. Not going to lie. Kind of just want to jump in and play it again. I got killed by dinosaurs so many times.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to just kind of like play around and muck around. And when they kept pooing, I was like, what's going on? Like we were just sat like talking and trying to figure out how we do it. And suddenly we just had a little and then like
so round as
a
well.
little round thing, and then went, I think you've just pooed.
Yeah.
And I was like, excuse me?
What?
I've done what?
You need to ask James Jenkins.
Yeah.
He's a big Arc pro.
I know he was really excited for it. And I was kind of like, oh, because I'd seen a bit about it, but I didn't know how it played. I wasn't really sure about it. So like when I jumped into it, I was like, this is kind of not what I was expecting, and I don't know what I think, but I do want to play again, just because I think it's funny.
I think you've already. I'm not saying don't play it again, but I'm saying at least you can know you've had the key Arc experience, which is making a horrible character with either giant boobs or a giant dick.
Yeah.
Watching them poop.
Yeah.
With the spherical poops.
Yeah.
Dying a lot, not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then maybe like building a bit of a shack at some point.
We just started on the shack when we stopped playing, but yeah, it's definitely something.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It is.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
Excellent.
And that's it.
That is it.
It's time for question 2. This one comes from Jules. Jules says, "Hi Biap, wanted to give Emma some love this week. Hope you're all doing well. With Nintendo adding missions and rewards to their Switch Online service this month, what do you think of the new points and icon system? Although obviously a world away from achievements and trophies, this is possibly the closest Nintendo has ever come. Do you think that more people will be attracted to the ecosystem if they went full gratification mode? Personally, I think Nintendo is already enough of a loyal fan base and amazing enough franchises to not need to go down this route. Thanks.
Thanks, Jules.
Thanks.
I've got a write-up here from Eurogamer just to give some context to this for those who haven't heard about it. Nintendo Switch Online adds missions and rewards section. It's a me updates is the subheading there.
Nice.
Thank you, Victoria Kennedy from Eurogamer.
Victoria.
The latest update for the Nintendo Switch Online service has added a new missions and rewards section. This new section offers users the chance to earn My Nintendo Platinum points, which can then be redeemed for exclusive items. Nintendo says the missions that players will now find on their Switch will most likely encompass things that they may already be doing, making its new rewards easy to get hold of. Simple things such as playing online or dipping one's toes into NSO's library of classic games will help users collect their platinum points. After enough points have been collected, players will then be able to redeem them for items found in the app. These include physical items from the Nintendo Store, as well as digital perks such as wallpapers and icon elements. When enough points have been collected, users will be able to choose from new frames, characters, and backgrounds to make their own unique icon. Lovely. Well, I think, broadly speaking, I just agree with Jules here. I think it certainly is the closest that they've come to trophies or achievements. And for those people who are into that kind of thing, I think that's a great thing to add. To be honest, so I'm not much of a Switch player. We've got like an office Switch. I don't have one at home, and I was probably quite surprised that they didn't have some kind of trophy system already when I read about this. I was like, oh, okay. Well, if they didn't have one already, it's good that they've added one now. It's nice that you get like icons and wallpapers and stuff as a reward for it. I would probably be more given the choice between trophies on PlayStation, which just give you a trophy and some trophy score, whatever it's called, versus like being able to unlock new little like avatars and things. I'd probably rather have the latter, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't want anything to be locked behind that score. Like I would still, say they did a Crash Bandicoot, picture, and I was like, oh, I want that. I should still be able to buy it from the store, like if I want to, with money. But to be able to unlock stuff like that, that's like an actual reward for me. Whereas I don't get like a particularly big dopamine rush from getting a trophy. Again, we're missing Ben Potter today, who is a platinum hunter.
Yeah, a trophy boy.
A trophy boy. So there may be, people might become icon hunters now, or wallpaper hunters, just ticking off every possible mission on their Switch. But I would also say, in a agreement with Jules, I don't know if it will necessarily attract more people to the ecosystem. I think, as Jules says, they've already got a loyal fan base. And amazing enough franchises as it is to not need to go down this route. But in a way, that's a nice thing that they have gone down this route just to presumably give a nice extra benefit to their existing players. And yeah, maybe to attract one or two more people. Perhaps those people who are on the fence about it might think, oh yeah, it's a nice place to be, a Nintendo Switch. Look what they've just done.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone who was kind of indifferent about the Switch is now going to see this news and go, got to get over there.
Got to get one.
But I think it's a good move. It's a nice thing, and I wish I could unlock little pictures and things on my PlayStation.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the thing. I think that if they were going to do it, maybe roll it out kind of a bit more on games that you can just play and even if it's just play Mario Odyssey for an hour or complete this mission in a certain amount of time. That's just every now and then it changes or whatever. Or even if it stays the same, but you can only kind of do it one time.
Yeah.
That's just an added thing for people to maybe just go back and play a game again. Or even just people who, like you say, who want something a bit more, a bit more challenge in their games.
Yeah.
Might be encouraged to kind of do those things. But like you said, I don't think it's going to bring in new players. I don't think it's interesting enough right now, the challenges themselves, to be anything of interest to most people.
Right.
It's things like use save data cloud or play an online game or go on the NES software. That's how to do the rewards. And I'm kind of well, fair enough, it's the first week, so maybe they'll get more interesting. But unless when it comes to missions for the community, unless they're individual missions per what games people have.
Yeah. I
don't know if there'll be anything more interesting than that. There might just be play an NES game for an hour or something.
Yeah.
But I think that if they'd go down the route of being here are the Super Mario Odyssey missions. What do you want to play? What kind of thing do you fancy? Well, look, I'm going to play Super Mario Odyssey today because if I play it for an hour, I'm going to get 50 points and I can pay for my Animal Crossing little logo thing. So I think I think it's cool, and I think I'm glad that they're, giving people something to kind of work towards in playing the games. Like you say, I think the icon thing is really cool, and I would like that in other places as well. Because a lot of the time you have trophies, but other than saying, well, I have 170 trophies, you can't really do anything with them. So yeah, I think it's cool, and I think that it seems familiar to me, and I can't pinpoint something else that's done it. It's just got this I don't know, it probably wasn't because they would have mentioned it, but I felt like it was something that they used to do on another Nintendo console. But it seems really familiar to me, the get earning points to do something else, but I can't pinpoint why it's familiar to me. But yeah, I think that it's good. I'm proud of them. Good for them. Good for you, Nintendo. And I think that it is fun. I like the little icons. They're pretty cute. But I don't think people are going to buy a Switch just to do the missions every week.
No.
So
I guess it's a little bit like what Steam do, where you don't exchange points for it, but you can unlock cards and stuff.
Yes, I think that might be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I guess the one kind of caveat, or if you want to be cynical, you could say, well, based on those example missions that you gave, because admittedly I hadn't looked up what the missions were like. If they're not in game, complete this level in under 5 minutes, and it's more check out the NES software, then you could cynically say that although they're trying to get people to try out features that maybe they're not using. But then you get that in even if you look at a PlayStation game, you quite often get a trophy for just using photo mode or something. So it's just a way of incentivizing people to use certain features that maybe aren't getting the love that they deserve, or and that can be enough. You might have never tried, for example, the NES, and then you sort of feel I'll give it a go then, and when you do, you might genuinely really like it. So there's no harm in that, really. I wouldn't have thought. So at the moment, it doesn't seem too kind of sinister or anything like that. It's just an extra little thing you can be doing.
So there.
That's us. We've given it the sort of okay seal of approval.
It's a good idea, but what will they do with it?
Where's it going?
Where is it going?
Yeah.
It's time for something a bit odd now.
It is.
A little peculiar.
Have you got your hands at the ready?
I have.
It's weird news. Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like it either. Thank God our hands aren't wet.
weird news time. Time for some weird news. But before we get to the weird news, Ben Potter's not here. We managed to do it right. We're going to call out some excellent podcast producers. Remember, you can be a podcast producer by going to patreon.com/Team TripleJump, and you will get your name read out on the podcast every single week.
And be forgotten by Ben Potter most of the time.
Yeah.
And Peter Austin last week. Though you forgot the entire section of weird news.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to move on to question 3, didn't I? That was good.
You did. So thank you to our podcast producers. They are Alex McDonald,
Caden Agranox,
Checkered Omega,
Sean Legg,
GY Goliath,
Katie Garrett,
Ellie Nicholas,
Erica Hutchinson,
Melody L. Bonnet,
Nathan,
Gabrielle Philippink,
and Corey Duffel.
Thank you so much for your support on Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon producer, podcast producer on Patreon, just check out the tiers on patreon.com/Team TripleJump.
Yeah,
if you fancy it. So there.
It's time for some weird news. We get sent some of our weird news via social media. Posts go out on both Facebook and Twitter. We're Team TripleJump on both of those places. So if you want to contribute a weird news story, just have a look on our social media a couple of days before the podcast recording, which is a Thursday, and there should be a post available for you. I've got one that was sent in by Jordan Blackhurst on Twitter and Facebook, and also Cameron Keywood on Twitter. There were a few different write-ups for this, but I've got one from Vice. And Vice, written by Samantha Cole. Vice say, oh, yes, I agree to cookies. Jesus.
Oh, I agree to... No, I don't want to install the app.
Doctor apologizes for ranting about console wars from operating room. Have you heard about this? Did you read it?
I saw the headline, but I haven't read anything about it.
So here we go. People are review bombing a hospital in India with 1-star reviews after a doctor tweeted a video of himself during a procedure with an unconscious patient.
Kind of funny.
It almost is, isn't it? The anesthesiologist, which is that different to an anesthetist? That's what we would say, I think.
Anesthesiologist.
Yeah. It goes by Dr. Sri Veera on Twitter and his YouTube channel, filmed himself supposedly in an active operating room where he'd just anesthetized a patient and was preparing for an invasive procedure to remove a gallbladder. He claimed to be defending himself against people claiming he is not a real doctor because they disagree with his passion for the console wars. Console Wars is shorthand for the decades-long argument between gamers about which platform, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo devices, PC gaming, and so on, is the best. Sri Veera posted the video to Twitter, writing, "Here I am after inducing anesthesia, intubating and putting a patient on controlled mechanical ventilation for a laparoscopic cholecystectomy case in OR," whatever that means, slandering my identity, profession, because you X-bots can't argue facts, ! That's the end of the sentence.
Okay. Is this the tweet or is that what he said in the video?
That is the tweet.
Okay.
He added, in caps, "Saving lives, my job. Console wars, my hobby."
It's not a hobby, Doctor. Doctor, it's not a hobby.
He was allegedly trying to defend himself from accusations that he wasn't a real doctor. Dextero, which viewed the video before Sri Veera locked his Twitter account, says that he pans around an operating room holding up the phone to record himself, showing the patient on the operating table. People watching the video think they found the hospital where he works, MediHope Hospitals and Research Centre in India, and are posting 1-star reviews to its Google page. Motherboard has reached out to the hospital for comment and to confirm whether he works there, and will update if we hear back. An anesthesiologist posted a video with a patient's private info, and he did it to make fun of video game players, one review says. "One of your doctors decided to share patients' personal information for the sake of console wars. Get this under control," says another. "As a PlayStation fanboy, why would they talk about console wars in MediHope? Who does it seriously? Posting video of his patient about personal information on Twitter and giving thumb up emoji is really illegal, more like thumb down emoji." That's a stupidest thing that's a stupidest thing Dr. Shri Vera have posted about on Twitter for the Console Wars. It's not even right at all. Seriously, another wrote. Almost 50 reviews have been posted since the video. Shri Vera posted an unlisted apology video on YouTube on Monday saying that he's received a lot of backlash and racist harassment because of his video. Well, that's not okay, whatever happens. He regrets posting the video and acknowledges that his obsession with Console Wars is childish, but also tries to defend himself and his hobby. The article is nearly done. We've got a quote from him here. I am a human being, guys. I make mistakes. Please, let's move on ahead, he said. I do not hate anyone on a personal level. If I do not like the console they're playing, I just make points regarding what that console is giving you. This is just a hobby of mine.
It's not a hobby.
Judging from his YouTube channel, Shri Vera is clearly a PlayStation fan and an Xbox hater. He has specific beefs ranging from Xbox possibly locking down some exclusive games by acquiring Skyrim and Fallout developer Bethesda, to perceived shortcomings with MLB The Show 21 on PS5 being somehow held back by having to release on Xbox as well. Neither of these points make a ton of sense, but that's how things go with the so-called console wars. They are wars of passion that make people act irrationally, like posting rants from the operating room.
There's an actual war going on right now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there are many.
Can we calm down just for a little bit?
Please. Just stop. Just play your PS5. It's fine.
Being part of the console wars is not a hobby.
No.
But some, men with podcasts who are a new subgenre of like people who talk about women on a podcast, but they're all men.
Yeah.
They will say that women have no hobbies. They say women don't have hobbies.
Women have loads of hobbies.
Women have loads of hobbies. One of my hobbies is not, if you're a man and you said that your hobby is the console wars, you don't have any hobbies.
You have no hobbies.
You have no hobbies.
Your hobby is being angry on the internet.
I just get a grip, man. From the hospital as well.
I know.
It's kind of funny.
Just shouting about console wars while he's operating. I mean...
Imagine just being like the surgeon who's like waiting to go in and being like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Why is he filming in here?
That's what I call the theatre of warfare. Ashton, please.
Thank you,
help.
Peter.
I'm drowning.
This article came from @Ethan D. Lawrence on Twitter. He sent me it in the dimmer. That's a DM.
Dums.
The Dums. And it comes from videogamechronicle.com.
Oh.
And it's written by Jordan Midler. Fans think a trip to Nando's inspired Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Producers' visit to the restaurant may have set the Spanish-themed games in motion.
What?
Apparently.
Okay.
Southern fans believe that the popular South African restaurant Nando's could have inspired the upcoming Pokemon Scarlet
Is
and
Nando's
Violet.
South African? Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've learned something today.
Yeah. The theory, which was first popularized by Twitter user @3clips_TT, looks like the word eclipse, but with a 3 at the beginning.
I see.
Suggests that the series producer Junichi Masuda's trip to the restaurant during a London visit may have provided inspiration for the upcoming games. Matsuda tweeted in 2019 he visited Nando's in Richmond, London, right around the time Scarlet and Violet were likely to be in the early stages of planning.
I thought this article was just going to be, here's the game and this is where there could be some Nando's influences, but they've also got tweet evidence that they went to Nando's.
Yeah. So the guy 3clips_TT tweeted saying, Nando's restaurant inspired Masuda and Game Freak in creating Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Here's why. All the screenshots are from one place, the official Nando's site. No jokes, lol. And then he's tweeted like the meat barky, which is the chicken.
Right.
And the Nando's logo. Like, or bar C, sorry, it says underneath. Like just a shot of that. And then retweeted the guy's tweet when he went to Nando's.
Okay.
He says... Anyway, the connection is seemingly based on recent comments made by Matsuda and designer Shigeru Ogmori, who stated that during a trip to the Barcelos region of Portugal, they thought that a rooster Pokemon could make an interesting addition to the series. The Barcelos rooster is the logo and mascot for Nando's restaurant. According to Ball Guy Leaks, Masuda has also liked a recent tweet alluding to the visit to Portugal, supporting the theory.
Oh.
So,
okay.
The theory goes on to posit that one of Violet and Scarlet's new starters, Fuecoco, was inspired by the African bird's eye chili, the colour of which features on all branding in Nando's. Fuecoco is a small fire-type Pokemon that is clearly inspired by a chili. However, which chili is yet to be confirmed.
Right.
However, another theory, which suggests that the game's official logo uses the same font as Nando's official marketing material, isn't entirely accurate.
Oh.
While they are similar, they aren't actually the same font. Nando's currently uses a custom-designed font known that was designed by South African signwriter Marks Salimu. Orange and grapes, two signature fruits of Spain, have been featured regularly in the marketing material of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and fans have made the connection to the designed by Nando's drinks menu, which offers multiple original soft drinks that use the two fruits as base ingredients.
Right. Some of it's a bit tenuous.
Yeah, the link here may again be tenuous, as Nando's is a Portuguese-inspired South African-owned restaurant. If the new games take inspiration from all the Iberian Peninsula, not just Spain, it could fit.
Yes.
We've reported extensively on the reveal trailers for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and detailed why many believe that the games were all set in a region inspired by Spain, with possible Portuguese influences as well.
Okay.
And then they just go on to talk about the game. But this is the Pokemon. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen the starters, but okay. I mean, is that inspired by chili? I suppose it's got a
It's like
little
a chili
tuft.
shape.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a shape of a chili.
Yeah, I guess so. And then there's obviously there's the bird one as well, the bird starter, which is maybe, is that supposed to be a rooster?
I think so.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So there. Apparently, Nando's inspired the next Pokemon games.
The fact that the tweet was liked is interesting. But you'd think maybe they would try and, I mean, maybe they did and it just, nothing happened. But you'd think they'd maybe try and get a brand deal involved. They'd like try and do some cross promotion with Nando's.
Yeah.
You know, like get Pokemon stuff put into a Nando's or vice versa. Get Nando's in the game.
Yeah, get Nando's in the game. You can go in for a cheeky Nando's, but, you know, like Pokemon style. So you just go in and it's like just curry. Just curry.
It's always just curry. You're definitely not eating the rooster Pokemon on your plate. Absolutely not.
No. We're all vegans here in Pokemon Land.
Man, I could go for some Nando's fries right now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Jesus
I really like the Nando's mashed potato as well.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever had the mashed potato.
It's pretty good.
What's your Nando's
go-to order?
Spice of choice? Well, you get a whole order if you want.
I go for a medium.
Right.
It's my spice of choice.
Yeah.
And I'll either get a sunset burger, because they're really good, or potentially get a philo pitta, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not really a fan of just like, well, I am normally a fan, but I'd rather get a chicken burger than just go for like 5 hot wings. Though sometimes I do get just some hot wings.
Right. Yeah. I sometimes get like a half chicken. But then you have to faff around with the bones. Yeah. So sometimes instead I'll get they do like just fillets, like I can't even think what they are, like their thighs or something, but they're boneless. And I'll either get a medium, which is fine for me spice wise, but I do just really like the is it like lime and something? It's like one rung down.
Lemon and herb?
Is it lemon and herb? I think it might be, is it lime and herb? Maybe it's lemon and herb. Yeah, it is lemon and herb. But I just like the taste of that. And it's like, I always feel like a bit like I'm going, can I just have lemon and herb, please? Like I can't handle the spice, but it just tastes good. So I do sometimes have that.
I like having a little bit of hot sauce on the side.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be all over my chicken in case it's too spicy. But if I can moderate the spice level by dipping my chip, it's all good.
That's what I tend to do. I order the lemon and herb and then I add spice with the hot sauce.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's our Nando's orders.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what your Nando's orders are.
Yeah. And if you've never had a Nando's, well, next time you come to the UK, you'll have to have some.
Have a cheeky Nando's.
Yeah, a cheeky one. Time for question 3, please, Peter.
Wow, we're really powering through this.
It's because Ben's not here. Clearly, Ben's the one that talks too much.
Yeah, this is what it was. Well, yeah, it's either Ben is the one who talks too much, or I was going to say when you have 2 people, you get through it quicker. But you guys talked for like 40 minutes about Uncharted. So.
To be fair, that one was very long, but just simply because of the Uncharted movie.
Yeah. Question 3 is from Liam Carpenter Robson, 2 surnames. Greetings, Bap. With so many game releases and with sales so frequent, it means I have a literal electronic pile of games unplayed. So much so, I recently started a game I realised I'd purchased before the pandemic. What's the longest time you have gone from purchasing a... Hello, will I get to the end of this question?
You can do it.
Purchasing a game to actually playing it, and is there any particular reason for this ? Thank you, Liam.
Thank you, Liam.
I made it. I've got one where I've essentially still not played it at all.
Me too.
I've got loads of those, in fact, but one that I've talked about before, almost infamously on the podcast, is The Witcher 3. That was actually a present for me. It was like a Christmas present. I asked for it. I was really excited to give it a go. I played it for, I think, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think I then had to stop playing. I was just playing it in the evening and then I had to turn it off. And then I may never have gone back to it after that. Or it might have been that I went back to it like I couldn't play the next day and I went back the day after. And I was a bit like, okay, so hang on, what was happening now? I've sort of forgotten. And then it was like 2 weeks and I was like, oh no, that's it now. I can't. I would have to start all over again. And I know that The Witcher is a great game, and what I did play, I really enjoyed. But number one, I was a bit like, I don't understand any of the politics or like the world here. I don't know who some of these characters are, and actually, I'm assured that very little of The Witcher 3 actually hangs on The Witcher 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some history there in terms of the world, but like. Oh, wow, there's a really exciting buzzing noise coming from one of those lights.
I think it's coming from the electric box.
Oh, the electric box. Yeah, we had that last week, didn't we? But yeah, there are characters in that game where, as someone coming into The Witcher 3, you feel like, oh, I bet there's like a long history with these characters, but actually it's not the case. They're actually new characters. But so that's one that sort of counts in that, I mean, I didn't buy it myself, and I also have essentially not played it at all, rather than, it being a long time and then I finally played it. Probably one that I sat on for a long time before actually playing it and really enjoying it was Terraria.
Yeah.
I don't know how I ended up with that. I don't know if it was in a sale or something. I suppose it must have been, or in a bundle maybe. And it just sat in my Steam inventory for ages. And I was like, I have no interest in this game. I don't think I actively bought it on its own. It must have been bundled or someone gifted it to me. And I was like, that just looks like kind of, at the time, it was like when Minecraft was on its initial hype wave and then Minecraft kind of went down and then came back again. But it was like peak Minecraft. And I was like, that just looks like kind of rubbish 2D Minecraft and I have no interest in that whatsoever. And then for several summers in a row, me and some school friends, I think we were uni age by that time, but some old friends of mine had Terraria servers.
Yeah.
And we would just get together every evening, 3 or 4 of us, build these huge bases, fight loads of bosses, get all these interesting items. There's like all these. It's quite interesting, Terraria, in that like Minecraft is a lot more freeform. Other than like having to build portals and stuff, you kind of can do what you want and do it in the way that you want to do it. But with Terraria, there are certain tactics, like you build a sky road, like you go all the way up to like the top of the map and build a really long road, and that catches like falling stars and stuff. And you build like a shaft that goes down to hell in the bottom. We call it the Hellevator. I bet a lot of people probably call it that. And so there are all these things that like people do tactically in Terraria, which are quite fun to do as a team. So yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's very different from Minecraft. Yeah, it's a sandbox building game, but I left that a really long time and I shouldn't have done. Good game. What about you?
There's absolutely games in my Steam library and on my PlayStation library that I just picked up and have not played.
Yeah, I've got loads.
Since.
Yeah.
But one that I know of, and I have mentioned it before, I got Cyberpunk when it came out. I got it on disc and I was really excited for it. And it's now still a year and a half later, still in its wrapper on the shelf and has yet to be opened and go out. I mean, now they've done the PS5 upgrade and like fixed a bunch of it. I'm more inclined to play it.
Yeah.
However, I haven't got the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's simply no time.
Too many games.
There's too many games. I have already got a backlog of like a bunch of games that I need to play. Like I need to play the Uncharted games. Those are on my list.
Oh, right. Have you
Like,
not played those before?
No, not played them before. And I also got to play Final Fantasy VII that's been sat on my shelf for a while as well. But I just haven't got the time to dive into it right now. And I know that like Horizon's a big game. And I know that Cyberpunk is also a big game. And so I'm kind of needing some like quick games to get through.
Palette cleanser.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm doing in between games. But I feel like every time I like, oh, thank God, I finished a game. Like just before I can play something else before the next one comes out, I don't finish them quick enough. And then I've got like a week and a half and I'm like, so there's no point me starting it now.
Yeah.
Because if I started now, I'm not going to have time to play it. And I'm not going to have time to like really sink my teeth into it. So I keep not playing it. So she's still in her plastic wrapper from a long time. So it may be that like it'll be 2 years before I even get to crack it open.
The longer you leave it, the better it will be.
That's
probably
true.
the more
they'll
fixed
fix
it will be.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely so many games on my Steam that I like picked up, being like, I'll play this, and then haven't yet played it. There's definitely a whole bunch on there. I picked up Half-Life 2 like 4 years ago. And was like, I'll play this.
Yeah.
And I haven't got around to playing it yet. So.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff, especially in my Steam library, where I own it because it's like a classic must-play game.
Yeah.
And so I probably bought it when it was cheap. And I was like, I will play that at some point, and then just haven't done yet.
Same with like bundles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many games in my library that I got from like bundles that will probably never get played because I either haven't got round to it or just I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And they just sit in my Steam library and I'm like, I'm never going to play this.
You reminded me of another one, actually. When we were talking about Cyberpunk, like the longer you leave it, the better it'll be. It took me ages to play. I just had the name of it in my head and it's gone now. The No Man's Sky.
Right. Yeah.
That released, and I I don't think I pre-ordered it, but I think I bought it like in the first week or something before I'd seen the reaction, or maybe I thought the reaction had been overblown, like really people going, "Oh, this is terrible," and it would still be okay.
Yeah.
And then it sat in a wrapper for a really long time until there was like the first big update that they did, which I think was like at least a year, if not 2 years later. I think it took them ages to like really bring out.
Like the kind of fixing it was like a really long time because they basically had to like rebuild the game.
Well,
they?
yeah, sort of. Yeah, they like changed all the the monster generation and added other ships and things floating in space and stuff. So it took me ages to play that. And then when I finally did, all right, it didn't like grab me. I didn't play it for like a long time after that, but I enjoyed it for a few weeks and thought, yeah, this is like, a lot more like what people were hoping for initially.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can really pay off to wait around to play games. Yeah. So there we go. Those are some games with long.
That's still on our shelves.
Yeah, delays for us. Well, still on our shelves in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's time for thing that I've never got to read before, so I'm really excited.
Do it.
It's time for the big discussion. It's big discussion time. Time for the big discussion. This week's big discussion comes from Dr. Mundy. Doctor, do game names matter? I've just picked up the Square Enix's Triangle Strategy for the Switch, and although I'm really enjoying the game itself, I'll admit that it's a ridiculous game. A ridiculous name, even. I'll admit that it's a ridiculous name. Lots of people have been making jokes about it, and I think the game might get overlooked as a result. Do you think game names have an impact upon their success? Someone replied to this on Patreon being like, yeah, I've heard people jokingly call it threesome strategy.
Oh, okay.
And that made me laugh. So, yeah.
Ashton, can I interest you in Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter?
That is literally on my list of stupid names for games.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Ridiculous.
That's actually, in fact, let me pull it up because that's a collection of games. And within that, they've all got stupid names as well. But Kingdom Hearts in particular, 1.5 remix and stuff. And hang on, what's it called? 2.8.
Dream drop distance or something like that. There's
Yeah.
My boyfriend's really into Kingdom Hearts, and him and his friend would say like dream drop distance, and I was like drip drop, and I just couldn't remember the name of the game. I was like, what do you? Oh, Kingdom Hearts drip drop, and he's like, no, that's not the name of it.
Drip drop distance.
Drip drop distance.
The games within the Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
Yeah.
Are,
there's also a prologue and a prequel.
Yeah. Are Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD.
Drip drop.
Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep - a fragmentary passage.
Yeah.
If you've got a fragmentary passage, consult a physician.
Absolutely should.
And Kingdom Hearts sort of an X, but it's like subscript. It's like a weird symbol. What is that?
Right, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts X back cover. What are they doing over there?
This is why people don't understand Kingdom Hearts and the story, because people can't even figure out in which order you're meant to play the games, because they got stupid 0.8. You can't make 0.8 of a game. That's that's an update. Like that's an update of 2.
It is. It's like version 2.8.
You can't just call it 2.8 because is there even a Kingdom Hearts 2?
There is a Kingdom Hearts 2.
There is a 2.
But it's with Roman numerals, which you can't put a decimal point after.
No. 2 point, and then they've got 0.2.
I know
1.5. No, just label them. Just please.
There are 2 reasons, I think, or maybe 3 reasons. One of them is symptomatic of the others. As to why I couldn't stick with Kingdom Hearts, because I loved Kingdom Hearts 1.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea of it, like getting all your Disney characters together. I mean, I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, so if it had just been Disney characters, I probably still would have enjoyed it, like a Disney multiverse RPG. But, the Final Fantasy characters are interesting as well. It had Cloud and Sephiroth in it and stuff. And I would have loved to play Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think by the time Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, they'd already done a spin-off or 2 on another platform.
It was a PSP game.
Yeah, like they did handheld ones. They did some that I think were Nintendo exclusive, citation needed, like DS games and stuff. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 2 came out before anything else, but by the time I had enough money as a child to buy Kingdom Hearts 2, I think there was like other stuff out there that I'd not played, and I was like, oh, what's going on? But by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, it was a tapestry of
doesn't make any sense.
Decimal points and remixes and subheadings. So it's a shame. And one of the other reasons is actually they just made a complete mess of the plot, I think. Like when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, this has turned into a Kingdom Hearts 3 big discussion, but when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, it was almost a joke. I think it was a serious video, but someone did a lore recap of like the whole series.
Yeah.
And it was like a genuine video, but you could kind of tell that they couldn't keep a straight face, like reading 30 minutes of very condensed, confusing lore. It's such a shame.
Yeah, I also don't understand the story of Kingdom Hearts. My boyfriend, he's a big fan, and he's played every single game. And
really?
He loves them.
That's great.
However, he tries to explain to me how they work with like the nobodies and the heartless and the this is Sora, but it's not Sora. It's like alternate Sora who's blonde, and this one wears a cape. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What 0.8 did this come into?
Yeah.
When did this happen? But they're ridiculous. Like I don't know if it affects them because people still play them.
Yeah.
But I think it makes them more difficult for new players to understand what they're meant to play and when.
It definitely will be it's got to put off new players. Like when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, there will have been people who maybe missed Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 who will have thought, oh, this Kingdom Hearts thing sounds good. It's like Disney characters, Final Fantasy characters. I'll have to give this a go. And if they then looked up the series as a whole to be like, can I get into this?
Or if you just play 1 and 2, because that's how normal games work. You play the first game, then you play the second game because it's got 2 next to it, and then you play the third game because it's got 3
like,
next to it.
what on earth is going on?
And then you've missed points 1 to 8 between the 2, and you're like, what's happened here?
But even looking at it from the outside before you've even played any of them, I think if I saw that there was a game called Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, I'd be like, flip that. I'm not playing this. No way. I've got a couple more here, though, that I think probably put people off. Hey, here's one close to home, Beyond Good and Evil. It's a bit of a rubbish name. That's not a good name for a video game.
Yeah.
Not for a third-person RPG. Well, not RPG really, but third-person action-adventure game. It's a relatively simple story. It's just like there's a conspiracy where the government are working with the aliens that like all the citizens think the planet is at war with, but like the government working with them, and you're just a journalist who takes photos and tries to expose that conspiracy. You could have called that anything better than Beyond Good and Evil. So that's not good. Lilac Wars. You know Star Fox for Nintendo? Like when Star Fox came out, it was Lilac Wars in Europe. I believe because it's a German thing called Star Fox, spelt with a V.
Right.
Star Fox.
Yeah.
I don't know what that thing is, whether it's a game or some completely different product, but they changed it to Lilac Wars. And I think people who had maybe even heard about, like, maybe they had like an American friend or they'd seen it on TV, like this Star Fox game, you might just think that's like, it must be an American exclusive because Lilac Wars, like, what the hell is that? Call it like something else.
Star Fox Lilac Wars, maybe.
Or Star Fox Lilac Wars.
If you want to get, still keep your name about this.
Yeah. And then I've got the worst one ever. I think maybe even worse than Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Maybe not. Canis Canem Edit. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
What's that game?
That is Rockstar's Bully. Are you aware of Bully?
Yeah.
It's the GTA game set in a school, a boarding school.
Is it not called Bully?
Where you are the bully. In America, it was called Bully.
Yeah.
In Europe, or perhaps just the UK, it wasn't called Bully. And I believe that was due to pressure from, like, I think, well, I don't know specifically who pressured them, but I think basically they decided we can't call it bully in the UK or Europe because you're glorifying bullying.
Yeah.
I think it was like maybe bullying charities, or it was just angry mums or politicians.
Those angry mums, they are aggressive.
Or maybe the censorship board, whatever, whoever handles that, said if you're going to call it bully, it has to be like a 16 or 18 or something.
Right.
Probably not 18, but they might have said you have to raise the rating if you call it bully. So it was called Canis Canem Edit, which is Latin for dog eat dog, which was apparently the slogan of the school, Bulworth Academy. And on the crest of the school, it says Bulworth Academy, and it says Canis Canem Edit underneath. So that's what they called it. That is the worst name ever.
That is pretty bad.
It's really bad. You could have called it anything.
Yeah.
Just something school related. You could have called it Law of the Playground. There, I've got you one. There's an example straight away. That is a phrase, Law of the Playground. Call it that. Whatever you want to call it, just don't call it that. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's in a school. Even if you know what it means, which most people don't because it's Latin. I didn't know what it meant. I had to look it up like years ago. I found out that's what it stands for. But terrible name.
Yeah.
And I bet that affected its sales in the UK.
I didn't even know it had a different
extent.
name because I have the game and I didn't know it had a different. It's just called Bully.
It may now actually just be Bully.
Yeah.
It might have been sort of re-released because they did an HD re-release, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think I think it's just when it was re-released, it was probably Bully HD everywhere.
Yeah.
But its initial, but I had it on PS2 and it was called Canis Canem Edit.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Rubbish. I think that there is a lot of JRPGs and the like that just have the most obscure name that like you're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
Like from State of Play last night, obviously we had Final Fantasy and all that stuff, but then we also had, right at the end, we had the Diofield Chronicle.
Yeah.
And then we had Valkyrie Elysium. Valkyrie Elysium is like, that one was fine. But when they were the Diofield Chronicle, I was like, the what? The whom? It's not as bad as Triangle Strategy. Like, don't get me wrong, that is a bad name.
It is.
Like, I liked kind of watching James try to explain to me why he thinks it's called Triangle Strategy. And he was like, well, there's 3 places. They're all fighting, and there's 3 things. And, everything's in a 3 because of triangle. And I was like, stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. Bad.
Definitely.
Stupid.
Especially when JRPGs, broadly speaking, quite often look quite similar, or they have very similar themes and vibes and soundtracks and stuff. So if you're not like deep in that genre and like if you're not well versed in it in your head, how are you going to like keep them separate in your mind? Like, oh, that game's coming out this year, that one's coming out the next year. I might try one of them. It's not normally my kind of genre, but I might give one a go. I don't even remember what they're called. You know, even if I see one where I'm like, this one specifically looks good, I won't be able to remember the name of it.
No, because it's one of those things where like I feel like, I mean, a lot of the time games do have names that have kind of nothing to do with them. But like, I just sometimes look at it and I think that like, it's not, people aren't going to remember this after you've showed the trailer and the Diofield Chronicle name. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
We did a list the other day, or I recorded a list the other day called like innocent games with like, I've called it innocent games with cheeky names, but that's not the name of the list. It's called like innocent games with ridiculous names or something like along those lines. Where
Naughty,
like
wasn't
naughty,
it,
I think maybe naughty names because they've got like just ridiculous names. So there's like one that's called like Dragon Wang, and the name of the character is called Dragon Wang, which is why they've called it like that name. But there's so many where you just think like, did no one like test this before it went out?
Yeah.
Like, did no one kind of go into a room and be like, here's the names that we've got, let's, you know, see what the people think and do what they called when they do like a focus group.
Like a focus group, yeah.
Did no one go, so what did you guys think of Dragon Wang? Though, to be fair, if I was in there, I'd be like, that's the perfect name.
Yeah, call it that.
Call it that.
Well, I think that though with the Nintendo Wii, like we're so used to it now, but I remember when that was announced, I was like, sorry, what have they called that? Did they not run that by one British person? Maybe even America. Did they use the word we in America? I don't know if they do, but certainly in the UK, it means piss, means urine. And that really blew my mind when that was announced. It was like, there's no way that has been okayed by a British focus group, but seemingly it went out there. And that, I'm not saying that affected its sales, but you know, you do wonder how these things get greenlit.
Yeah, I do also remember being like, "We? What? Like going for a wee?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny."
Oh.
But I mean, there's always names that kind of get translated or like are from other countries and in different languages that are then sent to us and just have like just make no sense. Or like have nothing that kind of sell it. But I think maybe with Triangle Strategy, I think maybe it has affected how well it's sold.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not got massive. People said it's really good. And other people said it's not. So I don't know how good it actually is. But I think that like, I think it's good. It's a bad name.
Yeah.
And it will affect it. It will affect it in the long run as well. People are talking about it though, so I guess maybe it won't affect it. Because if you've got a really bad name for a game and people start talking about it, it's probably all publicity is good publicity.
Maybe so. I mean, you do have to question it because like you can say, oh yeah, that's a bad name. It doesn't really give you an idea of what the game's about, or even you know, because some games you can get the genre even just from the title, like. You know, something like Shadow of the Colossus probably gives you an idea that like you might be going up against some like big monsters or something. You know, it gives you a vague idea. But that doesn't. But then on the other hand, you know, there are some really successful games that don't actually have great titles in terms of like giving you an idea of what it's about. Like BioShock, I was thinking, for example.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is it called BioShock? You know, it makes sense.
I also think that BioShock Infinite is a weird one as well, because you've got BioShock 1 and 2 and then BioShock Infinite.
Infinite, yeah.
And I didn't realise there was even a second one because I thought BioShock Infinite was the second one.
Right, yeah. Because why would they start numbering in them and then
change it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know, ask Kingdom Hearts. They'll probably know.
Yeah, they'll figure out.
BioShock 2.8.
Yeah.
Infinite Remix Prologue Edition.
The final chapter.
Yeah. So... You know, lots of games have come out with a kind of ambiguous title that doesn't necessarily tell you much about what's going on in there, and done pretty well. But
yeah, I thought that Triangle Strategy, when people were mentioning it, I've said this on the Cryptscope, I think that when I saw people mentioning it, they were like replying to things about like Elden Ring and Horizon and how there were so many games coming out. They're like, oh, got that Triangle Strategy as well. And I was like, is that like how to play all the games at once?
Yeah.
Like you have to, you know, have a triangle strategy to like you play one game and then you play another game and then you play another game to like get the three in. And didn't realise until we were doing a Cryptscope on the game that it was actually a game that I just passed me by.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Or it sounds, if people are talking about Elden Ring, it sounds like, a way to like dodge around enemies. Like,
Yeah.
you have to use the triangle strategy on them.
Exactly.
I think it sounds like a kind of, like a puzzle game, like a
I think maybe so,
geometry wars or something like that. Like, something about triangles. It's like Tetris.
Yeah.
So it's a shame. Hopefully it doesn't harm them too much, but
It's a bad name.
It is a bad name.
It is a bad name.
So let us know in the comments below and on social media, if you like, about what you think about Triangle Strategy as a name and as a game, if you want to talk about that as well. And what other game names do you think let them down? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Sounds good to me, Peter.
You can contact us in many ways. As I say, we've got the comments below, but also you can head to youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. It's where we put all of our videos and our live streams. When we are live streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, we are modded by Lord Brotovich, Trolling Badger, and Mr. Black. Remember, if you've got Amazon Prime, part of the whole Prime package is a Twitch sub, so you can use that on us if you like. Twitter.com and Facebook.com/Team TripleJump. You can head there for all of our social media presence. We put videos out there, live stream announcements. Facebook Live sometimes happens. It's every week I say that, and it's not happened since, but it will one day. And lots of other things too. Thank you, Fraser, for looking after our Twitter and Facebook. We've got a TikTok, if you hadn't heard, tiktok.com/@Team TripleJump. We've been doing mini reviews. We've been doing memes, trends.
We hit 1,000 followers on it the other day.
1,000 followers, guys. It's going well. And of course, we've got Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Loads of tiers on there. You can ask questions on this podcast. You can be a podcast producer. You can get early worst games and weirdest games ever. Loads to do. So head to Patreon.
We have a website. The website is triplejut.mup. That's triplejut.mp. Spells jump. If you want to join our Discord, you go to triplejut.mup/Discord and hang out with a wonderful community. On Discord, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And if they tell you to do something, you bloody well do it. If you want to listen to the podcast in its audio forms, if you're going on a long drive to go and plan some wedding stuff, why not go to triplej.mup/podcast to find out where you can listen to it in its audio forms.
I will, thanks.
No problem, Peter. If you want to catch one of our live stream VODs, if you've missed any during the week, you go to triplej.mup/VODs, VODS. And if you want to buy some sick and cool merch that neither of us are wearing today, but normally one of us is. Plot twist, Peter was wearing some. If you want to buy some cool merch, you can go to triplejumpshop.com or look on our Twitter @TripleJumpShop on Twitter and tag us if you've got new merch. And keep an eye out for merch drops because we're planning a new one very soon.
We are, yeah.
If you want to follow me and Peter on Instagram or Twitter, it's @ThatPeterAustin and @ScrambledAshton. And Ben, who's not here because he's doing Real Plops, is also is just on Twitter @confused_dude. We have lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday being the joint stream.
Blaze it. On YouTube. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly. It's Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. The podcast is every Saturday, and we do shows every flipping day. No, we don't, but,
a
lot. More than, it still says one every other week, but that's a very old note. Do them a lot now, which is good. Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes or your platform of choice. It's something to do with algorithms, something, I don't know.
Yeah.
We've got some announcements as usual. Quipscope.
We've got 2 Quipscopes this week.
Yeah.
We Triangle Strategy Quipscope by James Jenkins and a WWE 2K22 wrestling game, Quipscope by Ben Potter.
Yeah.
If you listen to those on the podcast feed and you can watch them on YouTube. If
That's right. They're also on the podcast feed. That's true. Worst Games Ever should have gone out last week, but I was off the week before, so we didn't record it until quite late. And then
Jimballs was sick.
We recorded it late, and then Jimballs was sick. So for various reasons, it was delayed. It will be going out this weekend. It will have gone out already if you're a patron, so you still got it early, 2 days early. Tomorrow for everyone else at time of release of this podcast. Weirdest Games Ever as well, though, went out last week for those who get it a week early, so they still had something to watch, you see. It pays. But it will be going out this weekend for everyone else, so check that out. And we've got a ranked list as well, Ashton.
We do. This was also meant to go out last week.
It was.
But it was delayed a bit. So it's coming out this week. And we did the song last week, so I think it's only fair we do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody once told me the Shrek ranked list is coming out today.
Yeah.
You should go and watch it on
YouTube.
There's a Shrek game. All the Shrek games ranked list is coming out. I think it's coming out this evening at time of release.
Oh,
so
is it Saturday or
is it
Friday? I think
it may
might have
already
been
been
yesterday.
out.
Yeah.
But you should check it out. Get plot twist. They're all bad.
They're all pretty much all
some
bad.
are worse than most.
Yeah.
So
wait till you see what's number one. Number
Yeah.
one will shock you. I mean, it actually will shock you. The best Shrek game. Wait until you find out which one it is. Yeah, that should have gone out last week, but and I even said like, no. Ben was like, is it going out? I was like, yes, it is. On the podcast, I was like, yes, it is. It will be done. And then Alex was like, yeah, I don't know why I told you it'd be ready for Friday because like it's not going to be ready for
ready.
Friday. So,
Yeah.
but it should be available now. So enjoy that.
Facebook.com/Team TripleJump. Like the page. Come hang out. Get us 10,000 so we can finally pay Jim Balls so he's not sick of scurvy.
Jim Balls, yeah.
Last but not least, our sponsor for this week was, of course, Toastwire Tokyo.
Of course it was.
To get us back into breakfast.
We will make a success of breakfast. Brexit. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Tell Ben to get better from his plops.
Yeah.
And we will see you all next week. Bye.